Coming up on iOS today, Rosemary Orchard and I, Mikah Sargent, show off some new accessories that you should consider now that you've got new devices in your hands. Stay tuned for this episode of iOS Today.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This is iOS Today with Rosemary Orchard and me, Mikah Sargent, episode 723, recorded Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, for Thursday, October 10th, 2024. New iPhone accessories. Hello and welcome to iOS Today, the show where we talk all things iOS, iPad OS, TV OS, Watch OS, Vision OS, and all the OSs that Apple has on offer. We talk about them, we talk about tips and tricks, we talk about apps, we talk about gadgets, everything that you need to know to help you make the most of those devices you own. I am one of your hosts, Mikah Sargent.
And I am Rosemary Orchard, and I've got a little collection of goodies on my desk, Mikah, ready to show off.
I love a goodie episode, and that is exactly what we're presenting for you today. So you've got your new device in hand, and you've been thinking about, what's going to go along with this? What could I possibly get that will make my new iPhone, or in my case, I've got something for if you've just purchased a new pair of AirPods. What's going to make this thing rock? And so we've got a few things that you might consider, and I'm very excited for this show and tell. So Rosemary, why don't you kick us off with your first pick?
Sure. So I am one of those people who likes to make analog notes. Yeah, I pick up a pen and paper, and it's great. Sometimes you just need to write things down and give it to somebody. Like, I need to make a note for my grandmother to remind her to do this or whatever. And having a notebook with me is kind of the challenge at times, because I don't want anything too big and bulky. I want something I can tear pages out of, but I will be able to keep the pages if I've torn them out if I want them. So I backed this little goodie on Kickstarter a while ago from MOFT. It's called the Snap Flow, and it has arrived. Okay, so I've got my iPhone here, and I've got the Snap Flow. Yep, it magnetizes to my iPhone. And if I put it on the iPhone the right way around, that would be so much better because I put it on the wrong way around. So what happens, I will just take it off of here, is you open it up. And I was playing around with it and tore everything off the other day. But you have a little notebook over on the side, and this comes in a couple of different versions. There's plain, there's dot grid, there's list. And then there is, wait for it, folks, over here, a teeny tiny magnetic pen. Yep, that folds into a little triangle so that it's a little more easy to write with. And then over on the other side, underneath where that pen has come out, there's a little flap to hold one note, or you can pull this down to hold, multiple notes and keep them out of the way. And I really love this. It's a really handy dandy little thing. It's available at the moment for pre-order for $30, I believe, on the MOFT website. But all of MOFT's MagSafe accessories are really nice. They've got a tripod that I love. They've got wallets, all sorts of things. And I really enjoy their things. And they're a nice quality vegan leather as well. I've not found that I've had any issues with, the wear being weird or anything, or the texture changing over time. It's not gone gummy or anything. And I've got quite a few of their things in various colors and materials. So yeah, this is the MOFT Snap Flow. This is the plain notes one, but I have a whole bunch of other notepads that I can insert into there, which I'm looking forward to. I'm going to have a play with those over the next couple of months.
Yes, I have the MOFT Snap Flow as well. And the fact that it's a stand for my iPhone, not just a notebook, so I can keep it there most of the time if I want to, and then I can, pull it out, write some notes. I have been using this because I also, as much as I like the digital aspect of some things, the app-based aspect of some things, every once in a while, I just want a piece of paper. I need to write down, especially if I'm doing things that involve measurements. I just really like to have pen and paper. And being out, you quickly being able to flip that open on the back and write something down, it's just really handy. So I think this was a brilliant product idea from MOFT, and I was super excited to see it, see it available. And as we mentioned, it's available for pre-order right now. But it walks right to the back. It stays there. And I thought it was very clever the way that they figured out how to include a pen without it needing to be barrel shaped. Well, large barrel shaped, and therefore taking up a lot of space. The way that it can kind of lie flat is quite delightful. And I have very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, this is barely thicker than my iPhone with a case on. And this is the iPhone 16 Pro for people for comparison purposes in a thin case. But, it's not all that much thicker, which is just really nice.
Absolutely. I wanted to mention something from Apple. It's something that I get every year, mostly because I really like a case that has an open area at the bottom. I obviously, like many people, swipe up from the bottom to do different things, and whoops. So having that open space at the bottom is nice. This is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this is the clear case, which I continue to rock. I've rocked the clear case for a long time now on different phones, and I quite like it. Now, when I had Dan Morin on the show the past couple of episodes, one thing that we talked about was how he does not use a case. And part of the reason he doesn't use a case is because he gets a new phone every year as part of the iPhone upgrade program. But he also mentioned that his wife had said to him one time, wow, you have to get a new case every year. That means that old case is just sitting around and is, kind of wasteful in that sense. And it honestly made me go, oh dear, I had never considered that. Here's the good news. You can go to, and let me make sure I get the website right, because I just now thought about this again. apple.com/shop/trade-in. So apple.com/shop/trade-in. You can go to that site and you can say, find your trade-in value. And then once you do that, a screen will pop up and you choose from that main screen, whenever it says first who made it, you can choose trade in another type of device at the bottom, and then just choose other devices. And then there will be an option for, where is it? It is cases and protection. And you choose recycle. Basically, what happens is going through this process, Apple will send you an email that has in my case, it was a UPS label. You get a box, you put the case, your old case into it, maybe your old cases, if you want to, into it, close it, and ship it off to Apple's recycling partner. And they'll recycle your old case. So my guilt about continuing to use clear cases has been completely erased. And now I'm back to using this clear case. But I wanted to just mention, of course, you've got your buttons. Oh, can I keep doing this? You've got your buttons for volume up, volume down, and your action button. The downside to clear cases has always been that the buttons are not machined, which is kind of a bummer. So that means that they don't, it's just kind of, you just press in. But Apple's buttons in particular are still quite nice. And then, of course, it has the action button, and this is not just a cutout. This is an actual, it passes along the capacitive nature of your finger to the actual camera control. So as I'm swiping on this, as I'm, holding on it, as I'm doing those different things, that information is being passed right through with no issue to the actual camera control button. So that's one of the reasons why I went with the official case, because I knew that Apple was going to have that. But then I also just like the clear case because I like my phone's color to shine through, color, so to speak. And then I'm actually, a lot of people hate this, but I'm fond of the weird lollipop thing on the back of the phone. I like it. I don't know why. It's just, it feels very minimalistic, and cool are the words that I would use to describe it. So I'm quite fond of it. And then as Marques Brownlee pointed out in his reviews, these iPhones, when they're not in a case, are some of the wobbliest phones that Apple has ever made. When you're if you have it set down on a surface, which I've done plenty of times, and you're trying to tap on things on the screen, it rocks all around, and that's so obnoxious. Having the case on there prevents that from happening as well. So yeah, I like a little bit of protection, even if I'm getting a new iPhone every year, and I like the fact that the phone doesn't rock around as much. So yeah, that's the iPhone 16 Pro Max clear case, which is available for $49 from Apple directly. It'll be interesting to see where Apple goes with non-silicone cases, because it's it's Silicone City right now for Apple.
Yeah, I was curious, Mikah, about the Beats case, and I don't know if you've looked at that one either, but that also has the same cutout at the bottom as Apple's clear case does, and it's got the same machine-made, the same sapphire control for the transfer for the camera controls, but it is a Beats case, and it's like a slippery plastic, from what I could tell. I haven't actually been into an Apple store yet, and I wanted to go and see what they look like. But in the meantime, because I am a person who drops my devices a lot, what I got is the Spigen case for my phone. And so this is the iPhone 16 series thin fit Spigen case. So it's a very thin case, and it's got buttons, which they're not metal or anything, but they are a slightly different material on the side for the volume and the action button at the top, and also the power button on the side. It does have a cutout for the camera control, but to be fair, people didn't necessarily know exactly how that was going to work, and any manufacturer taking a gamble on that they could just stick a button over the top would definitely have lost. So I feel like Spigen did a great job here. So this is listed as $39.99 on their website, but I got it for less than half of that on Amazon. So it would be worth taking a look at Amazon. And Spigen cases in general, I really like this one. It does have the full section at the bottom of the phone, but that doesn't bother me. And I also got something which you cannot see on my device, which is the screen protectors from Spigen. They come in a 2-pack. And as I have previously managed to scratch iPhone screens, including on my iPhone 15 Pro, it's a very light scratch, fortunately. I am definitely a fan of a screen protector, and this one is very easy to install. Comes with a little plastic guide, which again can be recycled, and you pop it on and install your screen protector, which is really great. And over here in the UK, you can't post things to Apple to have them recycled, like non-devices, but you can drop them off in an Apple store or at various other collection points.
Now, this one isn't for your iPhone, but there was another product that Apple announced at its iPhone event, which was, well, actually several products, a bunch of new versions of AirPods, and a kind of just a reminder about AirPods Pro. There was no update to AirPods Pro in terms of the hardware, but certainly some upcoming software changes. And on that day, I went to the Apple website, and I love to just go to the Apple website and sort by what's new arrivals. And up popped a new arrival that I said, oh, well, I've got to have that because I've got to check this out. And that is the Belkin cleaning kit for AirPods. So this cleaning kit, oops, here we go again, is supposed to help you clean your AirPods. Now, I just got this last night, so I have not had an opportunity to use it, but I wanted to mention it and unbox it live here. First, I did also want to mention that it, here we go. Belkin says on the top that this is 100% plastic-free packaging. It's interesting to see this company also kind of moving in line with what Apple is doing when it comes to trying to be more sustainable. So we will open this up and see what we have inside. It says that it has everything you need to clean your AirPods a few times. So this works with AirPods 3, AirPods 4, AirPods Pro 2. It would work with any AirPods, let's be real. So it has your instructions here, and it shows you what you need to do and sort of IKEA style. You put your AirPod down on the microfiber cloth. You put the first liquid onto the brush that I'll show you in a second. Then you put 1 squirt of the liquid onto the brush. You put 2 drops of the liquid into the AirPod itself. You move the brush left, right, up, and down on the AirPod. Then you use the cleaning cloth to kind of dab at the AirPod. Then you can repeat it 3 times. And then you put number 2 onto the brush and you clean it off. You put 2 drops of number 2 into the AirPod, and then you clean it once more, you wipe it down, and then you wipe everything down and wash your hands. It says, for best results, wait 120 minutes, so 2 hours after cleaning for AirPods to dry. So there are basically 2 different cleaning fluids. The first one has water and PEG6, that's polyethylene glycol. So it's a water and polyethylene glycol solution. And then the second one is just deionized water. So after you kind of scrub it and clean it out with the first one, you use the second one to clean things up. The brush itself looks like an art brush that has been, let me see if I can, it's got to be really close. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. It looks like an art brush that has had its the end of its bristles cut off, but when I touch it, it's a little bit stronger. So it's a pretty thick brush, pretty firm brush. And so I imagine that really helps to clear out the ooey gooey earwax that gets in your AirPods. Somebody said, not in my AirPods, I don't have earwax. And then of course the Belkin branded cleaning microfiber cloth as well. So I'm going to use these on a pair of AirPods and talk about what that, how well it cleans and what that experience is like. I've seen different people do different things for cleaning their AirPods, including using 99% isopropyl alcohol. And so it's interesting to see just a little bit of propylene glycol being used. Mikah's cleaning corner coming up. So that'll be a fun thing to try. This Belkin cleaning kit is just $12.95, so $13 on Apple's site. So you can check that out. Brand new product that just launched. And yeah, we'll see how that works. Rosemary, what else do you have on your list?
Well, I have a sort of a two-parter next, and it is from 2 different companies, but I have quite a few powerful USB-C chargers. But I never seem to have quite enough USB-C ports to be able to charge all of my devices at the same time, and Anker have come to the rescue. This is one end of a USB-C cable. This is the other end of the USB-C cable. Yes, one part goes into the plug, and then the other 2 go into your devices. And this can do 140 watts of power transfer. So it's a USB-C cable, 140 watts of power transfer that is basically designed for charging 2 devices at the same time. So if you're going to need to take one USB-C cable with you, but you may want to have a second charging option, then this could be a nice way to do it. So it's got a sort of brick in the middle, a smaller one that's about the size of my little finger, I guess, where the cable splits. And that's closer towards the end where you plug in your devices versus the end that is plugging into, the actual charger. But then above that, it's got a little slider, which I was able to slide this very easily earlier, and now it's a little more tricky. But this allows you to, slide this up to tidy your cables a little bit more, or you can even pop it off entirely if you just want your 2 ends to be free floating. And I just thought that this was quite a nice cable option. So the base part of it, so between the brick that I mentioned and the end that plugs into the wall or the power source, that's 3 feet, and then the 2 tails are 1 foot each. So yeah, this is pretty nice. A 4-foot cable in total from a company that we trust, and apparently because if you're doing one cable, so like one device, it can supercharge a 16-inch MacBook Pro to 50% in 20 minutes. I presume that's with the correctly powered charging brick for it, but that's pretty good going, to be honest. And one of the reasons why I got this is because Apple discontinued the MagSafe battery pack. So the MagSafe battery pack was Lightning, and it's not available anymore. But one of the things the MagSafe battery pack used to do is you could plug your phone in or the battery, and one would charge the other. Okay, so the phone would always charge first, and then the battery would charge. And that's not something you can do with alternatives, but I picked up this from Torras the other day, and this is super skinny. So I'm trying to put like my finger behind it so you can see. If I put maybe my middle finger, it's a little bit easier. But either way, it's really, really thin.
Yeah,
and this is
thin.
a 5,000 milliamp hour MagSafe battery pack. Okay, and this one, it's listed as $50 on the Torras website, but it is available for less on Amazon at times. And what it does have is if I press the button, it's got a little sort of indicator series of lights on here, and then there's another one at the end which also flashes up different colors when it's charging. And this is USB-C. It's very, very slim. So, if I compare it to, say, the MOFT Snap Flow from earlier, which was also very slim, that's actually slightly thicker, believe it or not. It's very slim. Yeah, this is super slim, which means it's really easy to put on your device in your pocket or whatever. Obviously, you don't want to be, heating up your device. That's not great, especially when it's charging with batteries. We try not to get those too hot, but this does mean that if I need to charge both of them at the same time, I can use that Anker cable, plug one end into the battery pack and then another tail into my phone and charge up both, because these are both USB-C. I can also use this to charge my MacBook and my iPhone or my iPad and a battery pack at the same time, all of the things basically. So yeah, just a nice option from Anker to have there, which, I do like Anker things. So it's good to see that charging cable and then this battery pack from Torras are a great combo.
That's pretty cool. Anything else that you want to mention before we move on to feedback?
Well, I'm pretty certain I've talked about this one on the show before, but I'm just going to give a little honorable mention to this Anker MagGo 3-in-1 foldable wireless charging station. So it's a little brick. It's got USB-C input on the side and a little indicator light, but the top folds up, which gives you a MagSafe on the front to put your phone on. Then there's an AirPods or just a general Qi charger underneath here. But then from the bottom, oh yeah, there's a little Apple Watch charger that folds up. And this comes with a nice little USB-C cable that's got a little right angle to it to plug in here, and a power brick as well. So this retails on Anker's website for $109.99. But don't forget that there are Black Friday sales and all of those things coming up for the holidays. So if you are in the market for a charger, either for home or for travel, this is my travel one. I like that it's got a bit of weight to it. So if I go to grab like my watch or my phone, then the charger's not immediately just going to lift up and skitter off of the table that I've put it on. And also at the front, this is it's a nice little piece of metal in the hinge, and it just feels like a nice, decent quality product that I trust to charge my devices.
Alrighty, that means it's time for feedback. If you, by the way, have accessories that you've purchased to complement your new devices, let us know. iOS Today at twit.tv. It's time for feedback. Allison writes in and says, "Hi, Mikah and Rosemary. I've been testing various AI-enhanced keyboards, but figured I won't need one once iOS 18 is out. Then I realized there's been little to no mention of improved typing via Apple Intelligence. Have either of you noticed any signs of improved autocorrect, maybe fewer key misstrikes, better predictive text, etc., based on your daily use in the iOS 18 beta?" I'm curious, Rosemary, if you have noticed anything different as far as that goes. I have mostly seen suggestions from Apple Intelligence for ways that I can respond to people when they ask me questions or say things, but I never use any of them, of the responses. My autocorrect has remained the same, and my And by that, I mean, I don't really have issues with it, other than occasionally it choosing a kinder word or a less naughty word than the word I'm actually trying to use. That could be one instance where that's still at play. But yeah, outside of that, I've not really noticed that much of a difference, but I'm not one of those people who has a whole lot of issues with it in the first place.
Yeah, so I have obviously been playing with this over the summer, and this Apple Intelligence is still not available just yet, Alison, unless you're running one of the betas, which from personal experience, as if we record right now, it's still a little bit crashy. So maybe don't hop on the beta if you need your device to not randomly just turn to a black screen with a little loading icon in the middle every so often, because that happened to me literally just before we recorded the show. But I have noticed improvements with autocorrect and text suggestions and so on, and also just the suggested responses that pop up. And these all appear above the keyboard. But I've also found that if I navigate back and, select a word, the suggestions that it offers me on that word do seem to have improved. And it will contextually change what you've typed as well to correct it based on subsequent words. So for example, the word your, Y-O-U-R or Y-O-U''re. It's very easy to type one or the other whilst meaning to type the other, but autocorrect may also just sort of do something for you there and select one or input one. And then if you continue writing and it becomes clear that the correct choice is the other one, I found that it will, retroactively change that word, which is really nice. And I've found that in dictation in particular, it's been really, really good at that. So I personally have found it better. I would be curious what you would like to get from an AI keyboard, because as far as I understand it, these keyboards are only any good if they can see what they're applying to. And the problem with keyboards on iOS third-party custom keyboards is they have access to everything you're typing. They have access to your keyboard. They may even have access to your text selection, but they don't have access to the other data. So for example, if it was in a message thread between myself and Mikah, it doesn't have the previous messages. It doesn't have the fact that I'm talking to Mikah right now as a context. It doesn't have Mikah's messages to me, and therefore, in particular, what am I replying to, and things like that. So I personally think that the Apple keyboard is probably going to be best for getting all of those cool things that we're interested in. And I personally have found it pretty good. I'm also enjoying the fact that it does suggest, the text effects and so on in messages as well when you're typing, which is pretty cool. I don't use them all that much because I feel like they are a little too much for some people, but I like the fact that it's suggesting those as well.
All righty. I've not had that issue, and I know that in previous versions of iOS, Apple had adjusted the way that autocorrect worked. All right. I can hear the music. It's time for Shortcuts Corner. Whoa! Welcome to Shortcuts Corner, the part of the show where you write in with your shortcuts requests, and our shortcuts expert, Rosemary Orchard, provides a response. The Shortcuts Corner request this time comes in from Phil, who writes, "Hi all. Hi. I have a challenging question. That is why I reached out to my favorite podcasters. On Cape Cod in the summer, in addition to my normal job, I also work as a personal chef. The company I work for has a Google Calendar that I have linked to my iCal. When there is a new prospect, the scheduler creates an event called PC Prospect so that I know there is a possible job. Once the person puts a deposit down, she changes it to PC Confirmed so that I know the date is confirmed. My wife and I share a separate calendar for just her and me. Right now, I have to, once I see a prospect or confirmed on one calendar, go in and create another on our family calendar. My ultimate wish is to create an automatic or something that when something is created or changed on the PC calendar, it creates the same in our family calendar so she can see when I have a cooking gig. I guess at the very least, what I would like is for when a new PC prospect is created or changed to confirm that my phone sends me a notification, or excuse me, is created or changed to confirm that my phone sends me a notification about it. I have attached a screenshot below to illustrate what I would like it to look like. Our family calendar is shared via iCloud, and my work one is a Gmail account. Thanks in advance, Phil. This is interesting because we're working with two different platforms, right? With Gmail and with iCloud. So can you do this with shortcuts if Rosemary Orchard is the one that's helping you out? Possibly.
Well, yes and no. So first of all, what I am going to say is based on the screenshot that you helpfully shared, Phil, it looks like you're signed into your Google account on your device, which is something that you can absolutely do. And what I would usually recommend doing for having multiple accounts, like say, for example, you've got a work account and you've got a personal account for, whatever, then you sign into your work thing, because then you can also, delete events and create events and things like that, which is what I do when I book holiday and so on. I do all of that through shortcuts because I'm a nerd. But what you can do from Google, if you log into calendar.google.com and you right click on the calendar in the sidebar, I suspect you're going to be able to copy a subscription link, or it may be called an ICS link or an iCal link, and then you can subscribe to that in Calendar. And that goes into then your iCloud calendars. And so that would be another calendar in addition for your wife. She would edit on her account, and then she can see all of these things at all times. And that is the 100% most automated way to do this. But not everybody has the option to do that because, for example, some calendars are not set up to do that for security reasons. Work offices, Exchange accounts in particular, and Outlook don't have this feature turned on automatically because it could be considered the issue. And so what you can do instead, and this is what I would do if I were in that situation, which I have been in previously. And that is to use shortcuts to find calendar events. And what I'm going to do here is use the calendar app action for find calendar events. And we are going to just choose something sensible. Okay. So say, for example, it really only matters about the things in the next 2 months. Okay. We only care about things in the next 2 months. So we're going to say our start date is in the next 2 months and calendar is, and in this case, I am going to use just my general calendar. That's the wrong calendar. It's not the calendar I was intending to select. That doesn't have anything on it. There we go. I'm going to use my general calendar. But obviously you would be selecting your Google Calendar for this. And so this is going to give us all of the events. And then what I would do is I would repeat over each of these and I would add a calendar event. Yep, you've guessed it, to the shared calendar. Nope, not add a new calendar. I got a little overexcited and tapped the wrong button, Mikah. Oh no. There we go. It's add a new event. That's the one. So add new event, and then we use the title from our repeat item and title, and then we pop in our, again, repeat item, and we select our start date, and we pop in our repeat item and end date. And then what I would also do is add so make sure you tap on the little arrow at the end and turn off show compose sheet, because otherwise if you've got, say, 40 of these, I can't imagine that you would necessarily have 40 in the next couple of months, considering that you're going to have to do menu planning and so on. That seems like a lot of work. But turn off show compose sheet. Make sure the calendar that you've selected is the one that you want to share it with. So I could pop it in the iOS Today calendar, for example. And then I would also just add a note. And the whole point of this note is this is something that's going to be nice and unique. And so you could just call this personal chef calendar. Oops, I can't spell. And what this is going to do, basically, every time you run this, is it's just going to go onto one calendar and it's going to copy everything over to the other calendar. Now, I can see where the problem with this is already, in that if you already had something for, say, next Wednesday, and then you run the shortcut today, it's going to add another one at exactly the same time for next Wednesday. So what I would actually do is I would start at the very beginning before I do any of this, and don't worry, folks, I'll share this shortcut in the show notes, and I would find our calendar events, and I just need to drag this one right up to the top. Whoop. And what we're going to do is say our start date is in the next 2 months, add filter, and our calendar is now, this time I'm going to use that shared calendar, and then I am going to say notes contains, and there we go. Now I copy that little piece of text that I used when I was adding the events, and I paste that in. So I'm finding everything that's coming up in the next 2 months that contains this, and then I'm going to delete the calendar events. And that is something that you can do. There we go. There's a nice remove events action. And make sure to, again, tap on that little arrow and include future events, because otherwise it will only delete past events. But that's basically what I would do. And then the final piece of this automation system is I would set this to run on your iPhone using an automation once a day, or twice a day if you really wanted to, or when you change focus modes, or whatever works for you. I probably just set it to run once a day at midnight, unless you're very likely to have things drop into your calendar last minute. But if you do that, then you can run the automation as well there as well. So, manually. Now, you could theoretically use, and I'll just name this so that I don't lose this later, copying calendar events. But what you could do is, under the automation triggers, there is the option for when you receive an email. So if you also get an email when something's been added to your calendar, then you could use that as a trigger perhaps. But honestly, personally, I would just go with a time of day. Pick a time that's sensible, like it could be midnight, for example, or it could be when the sun goes down, which is apparently what has just happened on my phone. Make sure you set to run immediately, and then you just select your shortcut, which I've just created. So it's down here in the iOS Today demo folder. Or is it? It's hiding from me. But yes, there we go. I will set that up. Copying. There we go. Copying calendar events. And then every day at midnight, that will just run. And that's it. That is what I would do there. There are probably other alternatives using things like if this and that, Zapier, and so on and so forth. Personally, I'd probably write a custom script and run it on a server that parses the information out of the Google Calendar and saves it and puts it into something else, because that way I could only have, say, the confirmed ones there. But and it would be really easy, and it would just update whenever, like, the iPhone goes to check it for updates. But there we go. That's some options for you. So hopefully that will give you a hand, and then your wife will hopefully be aware of what you're up to whenever you're off busy doing your personal chef things.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. If you have Shortcuts Corner requests like Rosemary, well, or for Rosemary rather, then it's very easy to get in touch. You just email iostoday@twit.tv, and we would love to hear from you. I want to mention that those of you listening to the audio for the show who would like to see the video so you can watch how those shortcuts are made and better understand what's going on, well, you'll need to join Club Twit. When you join Club Twit at twit.tv/Club Twit, you gain access to the Club Twit pile of goodies for just $7 a month. You get every single one of Twitch shows ad-free, just the content. You also gain access to the Twit Plus bonus feed that has extra stuff you won't find anywhere else, behind the scenes, before the show, after the show. Special Club Twit events get published there, and access to the members-only Discord server, a fun place to go to chat with your fellow Club Twit members and those of us here at Twit. We would love, love, love to have you in the Club Twit Discord and to see you there. And as I mentioned, you also get the video versions of all of our Club Twit exclusive shows. So be sure to join the club, twit.tv/Club Twit. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. Rosemary Orchard, if folks want to follow you online and check out all the great work you're doing, where should they go to do that?
Well, the best place to go is rosemaryorchard.com, which has got links to books, podcasts, apps, all the various things I'm involved with on the internet, including, of course, the links to my various social media sites. Or you can find me in the Club Twit Discord, where there's a live chat channel during the recordings. And, of course, there's an iOS Today forum where folks can post feedback, ask questions, and just say hi. Mikah, where can folks find you?
If you're looking for me, you can find me online at Mikah Sargent. That's where I am on. That's my name on most social media websites. You can also head to chihuahua.coffee, CHIHUA.coffee, where I've got links to the places I'm most active online. Be sure to check out the other shows that I do on the network, including Tech News Weekly, which is live and also publishes on Thursdays, and Hands on Mac and Hands on Tech. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We will see you again next week for another episode of iOS Today. Bye-bye.